Good day, collectors and viewers. Social Distance Warrior is back. And today we got a really special video for you. So I've waited an eternity for this day to come. About just over a year ago, we had an announcement. They released the Haslab fundraiser for the Star Wars Cantina. And that's been a lifelong dream for myself, as I'm sure it's been for a lot of other collectors. And I was ecstatic to hear about it and couldn't wait for it to come out. And I'm kind of giving you a sneak peek over here, but I do want to start off with more details on it. So getting back into collecting as an adult back in the 90s, 1996 to be exact, I was always fascinated with the Cantina aliens, with the Cantina itself. And I remember picking up, I think it was a Toy Fair magazine, and finding out about all these other aliens that were in the Cantina and that were in Jabba's palace. And fascination just took over me. I was in my early 20s, and yeah, I mean, I've been fascinated with the Cantina since, and I've always collected the Cantina aliens and always wondered one day if they'd make an actual Cantina. So they actually made that cardboard Power of the Force 2 Cantina that came out in 1990. I'd like to say it was 96 or 97. I remember initially it was a mail away, so I sent that into the Star Wars fan club. They sent it to me, and then a few years later it actually came out with a Sand Trooper as well. It was a retail version. I did get that one as well, and that was on my shelf and populated all my Cantina aliens for years and years and years. So after that Power of the Force 2 version, they would release another one, and that would be the Cantina packs with the action figures, and they'd come with a bar section. In that bar section, you could complete them. You can put 3 together and have a section of the bar, and it had these really weird stools on it. I never understood it, and they made figures where they could bend their knees and sit, but no one really sat properly on them, and the stools were always weird. And rather than making a brand new Cantina, they'd later in the 30th anniversary release, the sets so you can complete that, the angled parts, the arched parts that came with a few of the figures, and you could complete the bar. And I had that for years. But on display, I always had the cardboard one because it still looked better and had the chairs, and you could put Han and Chewie, and I'm sure you've seen it in my other videos. Well, we're going to cure all of that and go into an actual real Mos Eisley Cantina. They've actually made it. I can't believe they made it. I'm going to throw up some pics here of my unboxing first, so you can have a look at what that box looked like, what it entailed when I opened it. And then I've just had fun for days just populating this thing, and I'll show you some ideas that I've put on here as well. Initially I just started with the Cantina aliens, and then it started to grow and I started to add other figures in here as well. So we're going to look at that all in detail, and we're going to have some fun with it, and I hope I can inspire you, give you some ideas, and I'm sure you can probably inspire me and give me some ideas back as well. So let's have some fun. Thanks for joining in, for having a look at my video, and of course if you like it, please like and subscribe if you're not subscribed, and let's just share the passion and go through this together. So the day's finally arrived. Been waiting a lifetime for this item, and I just picked it up off the FedEx driver at the front door. It couldn't have come at a better time, and I'm talking about the Mos Eisley Cantina. So a lifelong dream for me, and I'm sure a lot of other collectors and fans. And just pulled it out of the shipper box and laid it on the table, and you can have a look here at the nice, amazing artwork that they have on the front, paying homage to the original Kenner designs. There's the awesome classic Star Wars logo, and of course over here we have the figures that are included. I can't wait to get to these guys here. To my delight, I know a lot of people have been receiving their standard version first. I did pick up 2, a standard and a deluxe, so I can have one version that I can pull out of the box right away, and it was the deluxe one, of course, that I wanted to have, so I can do the full scenario with both sides of the walls, and that is the one that I've received, so I can say that with delight. So looking down at the top of the box, we can see the nice snapshots that they've used from the movie scenes and placed the action figures in. I love this here. So right there at the onset, inside the Cantina with Wur and the other aliens, and then the nice picture of the corridor. I can't wait to display mine this way. And our beloved Tonikka Sisters, we finally get them in action figure form, long awaited. And there's a picture of Ben Kenobi when he was disposing of Pondabawa and Dr. Evazan. You can see Wooer hiding there behind the bar. It's almost an exact movie shot there. Down here we have Greedo with his altercation there with Han Solo after he found him first. And then the result of that altercation with Han Solo. So that's the top of the box. And here is the bottom of the box as well. So some more images here. Here of 3PO and R2 following Luke in. And you can see 3 Jawas sitting out there. These are the ones probably that are coming with the streets of Mos Eisley. And if we move over here, we'll see the nice interior of the bar with Wooer and friends. And then over here we have a nice picture of the Tonikka Sisters. And then a nice picture outside here of Luke Skywalker before he goes in. With some extra figures there. There's Bo Shek. There's some Jawas and some Sand Troopers and the Land Speeder. Down here we have Greedo with this nice little solo picture there coming into the cantina. And then a nice shot here of Han Solo with Chewbacca, Obi-Wan, and Luke negotiating their trip to Alderaan. So that is the bottom of the box. And here is a nice picture of the back side of the box. So again, in classic Kenner style, where they used to do the boxes for the vehicles and the playsets, the backs and the sides, most of them would be in like a sketchy black and white version of the front, which is awesome. I just wanted to show you the sides of the boxes as well. So same image as the back of the box on the one side here, and then same image for the other side as well. And here is the exterior of the deluxe box. So the deluxe box comes separate from the rest of the cantina. So if you ordered a deluxe version, you'd get it with the second side of the cantina, and it comes in a separate box from that main box. And you can see the size of it there. If I just turn it to the side, you can just have a look at the size of this thing here. And that's pretty much it. We're going to look at unboxing this thing, and stay tuned for more. And just opening up the initial part of the box here, the inner box. Right away we'll find the instructions sitting inside there that we can go through to assemble the cantina. And underneath all the boxes that it's coming in, all these separate boxes. I can't wait to get through these, and I'll show you guys what it looks like once we're done. And I wanted to show you this box in particular, box number 2, which I left for last. I built up the cantina, is the box with the figures. So let's just pop this one open just to show you what that looks like inside. And yes, lo and behold, we see 5 figures that come with this cantina. 3 of them are standard ones that came with it. That's Wooer and the Tonikka Sisters. And then, of course, 2 of the stretch goals that we hit. Nabrian Leeds there and Greedo. So that's what the figures look like on the inside here. Let's just pop open the cover here just so we can see underneath with the card backs. So we see the card backs underneath here. And they put a nice little piece of paper separating them so they're not scratching or touching, which is a nice little touch there. So here are the figures just outside the box. We can look at there. Now we get a nice close-up look at Wooer. And then Senny Tonikka. I can't believe we have the Tonikka Sisters. And then Bria Tonikka. Some say Tonikka, some say Tonikka. Either or. I sometimes say, it's just like saying Han or Han Solo. It's kind of the same thing. Depends on my mood. I will call them one or the other, but that's a dream come true for anybody that's a Star Wars fan, particularly one that loves the cantina. The fact that we now have them. Let's look at them nice and close there. On their packaging before I open them up. And then here's Greedo. It's awesome. We get Greedo as well. And of course, Nabrian Leeds. So I'll pull back there just to kind of show them all as we go through. And Nabrian Leeds is Haslab 011 if you wanted to know the card back numbers. Greedo's 10, then 9, 8, and Wooer will be 7 from all the Haslabs that we've had. So there they all are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 action figures included in this set as well. So let's start with this section over here. We have the 2-headed announcer from episode 1. Of course, he was on Tatooine, so even though it was Mos Eisley, but still counts. How do you know he never go into the cantina? So we've got him on there. We've added him to our scene here. He's in the front here. He's in the streets. Then we have this special edition robot that they made that's carrying the piece of stock metal, walking around. And then beside him here we have, you know, one of these little droids rusted up sitting on the container. And if you look inside there, you might see somebody that looks familiar in there. Maybe somebody that was like an orphan dad to Anakin Skywalker at one point. In front here, of course, we have Sebulba walking around, and he was on Tatooine. And in the back there, we see a pit droid just in front of that door, hinting to us that might be somebody's junk shop inside there. There we have a sand trooper. We have another box container over here. I bought a few of these Mos Eisley sets and populated them here in the front. Here we have a Ben Kenobi standing in front of the land speeder, and here's Luke, and then there's 3PO and R2, and they're getting interrogated over here by a couple of sand troopers trying to find the droids and seeing if these are the droids that they're looking for. And over here in the back we can see we have that Imperial spy Garinden Longsnoot, and in the alleyway there over here we can see another sand trooper. So the Imperials are all over my Mos Eisley Cantina here. There we have one of the droids that was populating or walking around the cantina. Afterwards, we'd see him in Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace as well. There's a moisture evaporator just behind him there. That moisture evaporator actually came with a Luke Skywalker 30th anniversary figure, and it was also later released with the Lars Homestead. So I have that one as well. On the other side, we'll look at that in a second. And over here, as we back up the camera, we're going to see that droid that went past the land speeder in the movie in that special edition. We've stuck him here in front as well, getting in front of our land speeder to recreate that scene. Here we have a Rhodian alien that was from the 30th anniversary set. And of course, he was one of the pod racers' helpers or assistants. And behind him there, we have a Ronto. And there's the Ronto with a Jawa standing on top, attentive, posing for the camera. We have him populating the front of the cantina. And then we can see the entrance there of the cantina with one of Jabba's goons walking in, going for a drink. Over here we have one of the pod racers walking around in front, looking all happy, coming through Mos Eisley. And then there in the back we have the entrance to the cantina. We have the 3 Jawas sitting in front, waiting for someone to go in. I always wondered if they're panhandling or what they're doing. Probably looking to see if somebody drops something or if they can steal a speeder or an item, grab some scraps. Here we have another alien that was in episode 1 walking through Mos Espa, and of course he's visiting Mos Eisley as well. Why wouldn't he, right? Mos Eisley's also on the desert planet. There's only so much you can do in a desert. And there's our dewback there in the back, standing out front of the cantina, paying homage to that entrance when Luke and Ben went inside. Here's some more pod racers here over here in the front. Gasgano, Mars Guo, and a few more over here. Odie Mandrell, and I think, I can't remember the name of this guy over here in the back. It escapes me for the moment. And in front here, we have the lady that was selling the chubas. And she's got some there in her hands, and she's got another one here on the side. So we've got her on the streets, chopping up meat, having it for sale. Just keep Jar Jar away. And as we see, we have some containers over here popping in the streets. We have a droid. And we have a Jawa over here standing in front as well as another moisture evaporator that we can see there on top. Inside, I've used one of the decals that the cantina came with. And there's our boy Ben Quadranaros over here advertising his speeder, almost like he's a star. And then I've done that on the other side over here as well. I'll bring the camera in just so I can show you. We got an Imperial poster over here. It's probably some propaganda saying, "Join the Empire. Become a sand trooper," just like this gentleman is or lady is over here. So that's the front of our Mos Eisley streets that lead into the cantina. I'll pan the camera back just to show you what that looks like. And then this part's interesting over here. Let's just kind of go in here. I see a pit droid in the front. We talked about it. I see someone familiar in there. Looks like Watto. This couldn't be his junk shop, is it? Well, let's have a look. Let's come around from the side here. And it is his junk shop. There's that R2 unit that was inside of his junk shop. And you can see I've populated that with some more droids as well. There's our good friend Watto. There's another droid there that was one of the Star Tours droids. This is the Watto from Attack of the Clones. I like this one because you can have him floating, so it looks like he's flying. In the back there, we can see he has what's the remnants of a Buzz Droid and a Droideka as well. He's got it up for sale. And then we got another Buzz Droid that's not completed there on top. And then in there we have a container. If you look closely at the container, if you're very observant, that looks like a General Grievous head inside the container. That's a pretty good souvenir to have. And there's one of the Senate cameras. And then, of course, one of the backpacks from the Clone Wars. And there's another droid sitting in the back there. So Watto's got some cool stuff here for sale in his junk shop. And, of course, I've made a makeshift junk shop here. I just had some fun with it. And you'll notice that I do have an extra wall there, divider, that's actually part of Jabba's palace. It just turned out really good here. It looks like it's part of a junk shop. It looks like shelves, and I just had fun with it. And over here with his droid as well. That's the entrance. And Watto, we're going to bet you. We're not going to buy anything. We're just going to get you to spend all your money betting us on the pod race, okay? So that's Watto's junk shop. As we move here past Watto's junk shop, we see another Imperial poster there. Actually, it's the Size Noodles band as we're coming through. And then we have a sand trooper patrolling the streets, looking for those droids. And then we have what's the remnants of an engine from a pod racer with a droid there in the back and a few more Jawas. And as we go down the hall here, we see there's another corridor, another door there in the back. And more on that in a minute. But that's the side, the right side of our Mos Eisley Cantina. Let's pan the camera back over here to the front. And you'll notice I used, from the Navarro Cantina, I used one of the spare parts. This isn't always a weird part on that Cantina bar door. I don't know what to do with it. And these holes actually line up with this Cantina. Even though the color is not exactly the same, it actually works pretty good. You can see it gives you an extra little dimension or layer here in the front to make your Cantina or your Mos Eisley corridor look a little bit different. So there's the Mos Eisley spaceport over here from the other side. Before we go into the Cantina, we can see we have some aliens on there. It is still a work in progress. I will show you guys more once I'm done, but I will like to change, the color of the bottom here. I'm using a very large coffee table, and we're probably going to use something that looks sand-like, whether it's sand or whether it's a bright color on the outside, just to give it a little definition from the outside to inside. But I just had too much fun. I had to share this video with you guys. So that's that part of the Cantina. Let's have a look at the other side. So now we're going to work our way around behind the dewback. We're going to see if there's something else going on there. I don't have much going on over here. The dewback's taking up the whole corridor. But we got a whole band of pit droids over here. It looks like they're plotting something. They're going to have a droid rebellion. Here we go. So they're just populating that area there. And then if we have a look all the way over here in the back, well, that looks pretty familiar. I've used my Power of the Force 2, Episode 1. I think it's the Pod Racer box set. And this came with Watto and a few other minions. And we can see he's got a few of the Twi'lek girls populating here in the back. And they're sitting and they've, gone through a bunch of drinks. They just threw them on the table. And they're standing in the back part of this Mos Eisley Cantina, and it's actually connected over here to the side. I'm just going to turn the camera around a bit. And if you ever wonder what happened to Dexter, well, once he ran out of his job or his employment finished in Coruscant when the Empire took over, he moved to Mos Eisley and he became a butcher at the Cantina, or so we think he did. So stay tuned. I'll show you what is in store inside, but this is the other side that I have of the Mos Eisley street. So not much going on there, but again, lots of room over here on the coffee table. And that's going to take us inside the Cantina. So let's follow that interesting little scumbag that's going in there. Let's follow inside and see what's inside, what's in store for us. So as we go into the Cantina, we notice there is a Jawa waiting at the door, and there's those droid sensors and 3 chairs there. They don't serve their kind, so that keeps track of any droids trying to come in. And there's nobody populating those seats right now, but stay tuned for more. Let's change that angle to show you the opposite side. So here's the opposite angle of the entrance to the Cantina where that Jawa was standing. I just wanted to show you what that looks like from this angle. The nice texture over here on the inside of the walls and the nice detail on the walls. It's got nice weathering on there. It's pretty neat. And there's another aerial view from this angle as well, so you can see there's some nice stuff going on there coming into the Cantina. So as we work our way into the cantina, we'll notice there's Moset Benid, and there's a Transdoshan that he's sitting with over there. We have a few other cantina aliens. There's Bomb Vidum inside there. It looks like he's with one of the Duros. And then if you look really far back into the room there, it looks like it's the alien that bought the land speeder off of Luke and Obi-Wan that's in there. We're going to go inside to see them in a second. So here's what we have inside this first room when we're coming into the cantina. You can see them sitting and chilling there. Now the cantina does come with roofs, so you can put them on, but it's really dark, and until I get the lights up, I want to be able to show you guys the aliens that are in front. So that's those guys there. And over here we have a bit of a pod racer reunion. We got Ben Quadranaros there with one of his buddies that survived the pod race, and you can see them sitting and they're chilling in the cantina as well. Why wouldn't there be? He's got his poster out front. He's famous. And of course, they're sitting at the table there with Cobb Vanth. There's Jeremy Bullock there from the Attack of the Clones, or it might have been from Revenge of the Sith. He's sitting with Han Solo. Han Solo, he's still waiting for his company to come over and give him an offer he can't refuse to take him to Alderaan. So that hasn't happened. I see Snaggletooth over here, Tequil, chilling there in front, and he's with a few of his buddies. As you can see in there, some of the names escape me. Don't mind me. I'm just going to show you what they look like. And as we work our way back, we see some more Cantina aliens. And then we even see Black Chrysanthemum. He's sitting there in the back. And of course, he joined the Cantina, wouldn't he? Look at that big mug he's got in his hand. And as we work our way down here inside, we see Biggs Darklighter. He's standing and looks like he's playing some sabacc with a few other aliens there. Mayo and looks like Muftak. Let's bring the camera up and have a look at who's inside that room with him over there. And now we're going to face the bar. We're going to have a look at the aliens that are at the bar here. And here's a couple of very, very famous action figures that were never made in action figure form. And lo and behold, all 5 of them are in the shot here. There's the Tonikka Sisters. There's Greedo. There's Nabrian Leeds. And in the back there's War with his hand out pointing at no droids entering the bar. We're going to get you a better angle here in a second. So here's a little bit of a better angle of the Tonikka Sisters there in the back, as you can see them at the bar. I'm so happy they made these action figures. They were much needed figures, very popular figures we never got. There's Wooer pointing at us. He doesn't serve their kind here. There's Danik Jericho here in the front. This guy's story is pretty interesting. He's a vampire. Actually, this action figure actually came with 2 tentacles, almost like worms that stick into his face, and he sucks the blood out of people when nobody's watching. So he's got a really interesting story over here. But there's a brand new Greedo there in the back, and there's Nabrian Leeds, a brand new one as well. So there's Greedo here in the back with Nabrian Leeds and Danik Jericho, and we can see Wooer's Cantina here in the back. Look at the bar, how neat that is, how much detail is in there and what's going on. And we're going to work our way back over here. On this side, we're going to see who else is populating. Well, there we have Cabe, the little mouse slash bat. Came up for a drink. He's got a drink in his hand. It looks like he might actually hook onto one of those hookah pipes that are on there. Here's a couple of famous aliens that you might know. Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba, and they look like they're not happy with Luke. And Luke's having a conversation. They're all having a drink. So it hasn't gotten bad just yet. And then over here we got Ben Kenobi, and he's talking to Bo Shek. And just standing behind him there is Chewbacca waiting to be asked to take him to Han. And then we have Kiddick Keedkak, the praying mantis looking aliens there in the back. And would you lo and behold, who's that in the back there? Isn't that Cammy and Fixer? Cammy and Fixer was a really neat one. They're from the deleted scene from Anchorhead in the original Star Wars that never actually made the cut of the movie. So would have sucked to be the actors at the time, but you know, they'd get some glory back in, I think it was the Book of Boba Fett, when he actually goes to a bar on Tatooine and there's an old version of Cammy and Fixer in there. I laughed at that part. That was hilarious. And wouldn't you know it, there's somebody selling them death sticks over here, and none other than Elan Sleazebag Anno. So he left, you know, the Coruscant bar and joined Mos Eisley over here, and he's selling them death sticks. How rude of him. No wonder they didn't go anywhere. No wonder the scene got cut. They're a bad influence, bad role models for everybody else. So in the back here, we have our Cantina band. You can see all 7 members are there in the back. I'll pan the camera. In the front, that's probably the best spot to put them, in that back spot there. And this is the deluxe set of the Cantina, so they're all populated there inside, but you can see them all sitting in front, and just in front of them there's a Bothan, Manny Bothans, having a drink at the cantina. And then as we work our way into this room here, we can see we have a bunch of other aliens. We have that Brainiac alien, we have the Worm, we have the Devil alien, the name escapes me right now. And then of course we have the Wolfman, Lax Sivrak, that's in there as well, chilling with them. We pan the camera back. I do want to show you what's really cool in this deluxe set. You have this alligator or crocodile head sticking out of the ceiling. It's not on the other side, it's only exclusive to this side. And it's actually in the movie. That actually did happen, so that's pretty neat. If I pan the camera back over here, there's like a skull or a Womprat skull that's on the wall there behind Elan Sleazebag Anno as well. So that's pretty neat. That gives it makes it a little bit different from the other side. And then we have some more pod racers over here chilling with Aurra Singh, having a drink. And then some more aliens in here. So that was another one of those versions of Tequil or Snaggletooth, the smaller one from the Power of the Jedi line. I love that one as well. And he's chilling there with the brand new Hammerhead. I love the Mama Nadun that's in there. And then behind him there, you see one of the other zombie aliens in the back as well. We'll pan the camera up just to show you what they look like inside there. And then let's pull the camera back and just show you the nice grand scale look at the cantina from above. And you can see it's massive, and this table serves it really good. I can actually sit and kneel down in front of the table and have a look at the cantina. Then we just change the angle from to the front over here, so you can have a look at it from the front side, and you can just see how massive it is and how much of a awesome play piece this is. And this is sitting in the middle of my room. My room's officially got no space anymore, so I don't know what we're going to do for anything in the future, but this completes me. I really wanted to have this set in here, and you can just see how grand of a scale the cantina is and how awesome it is. I do want to show you one more thing in the back of the cantina. So behind the wall here on the right side, I've kind of made another makeshift room. And if you'll notice, that whole section that runs along the back, that's the bar section of the original cantina bar set. So I had a bunch of the sets. I had the 2 Kmart sets that came with the action figures, and then that's that whole bar that runs all the way to the back, and I have it curling. You can see the little curl part there, and you can see Cammy and Fixer, and that's running all the way to the other side to kind of close up shop. And I just put the stools, if you have a look here, on the outside. That way they're not in the way, but you can see it does it justice. It closes up the back of the cantina until I figure out what I'm going to do, but it really puts it here on a larger scale. Now let's just move around to the front just to show you again what this thing looks like as a complete set. Again, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of collectors, dream come true. It's really fulfilling to have this. It's really fun putting stuff in it, coming up with little creative things like putting Watto's junk shop or putting the pit droids on the side and having little alleyways across the side. You can get creative, you can get some ideas, making your own, but you can have fun with this thing. And you can also put it in sections, so it doesn't not just have to have a full cantina. Place it. If you don't have the space for it, you can just put sections. You can pull sections of those bars and put them on shelves and have fun with them as well. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope it's inspired you, and I hope you have fun with your cantina. And again, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. Take care.